Have you ever wondered if your life is more than just a bunch of random events? What if it's actually a structured curriculum? Today, we're diving into a really cool framework that looks at our whole existence as a journey, a purposeful one, towards what you could call a cosmic graduation.
So let's just start with that big question right there. What if life is a school for your soul? Seriously, think about it. What if every single challenge, every choice, every single moment is actually part of a grand lesson plan, all designed for your soul's evolution? That's the core idea here, that we're all students in this cosmic university, and we're here to learn, to grow, and, ultimately, to graduate.
All right, so here's our syllabus for this little deep dive. First, we're going to talk about your mystic senses. Then, the three worlds you're literally creating right now. We'll also get into the dangers of the astral plane, super important stuff. Then we'll compare chemical versus mystic feelings. And finally, we'll talk about the grand finale, your cosmic graduation.
Okay, first things first. Every student needs the right tools to succeed, right? Well, in this soul school, we're not talking about pencils and calculators. We're talking about your inner senses, your mystic senses. These are the tools you use to actually perceive and interact with the spiritual world.
You know, we all get how our 5 physical senses work. They help us navigate the material world. But this framework says we have this whole second set of senses, our mystic ones, and they are built to perceive a much, much bigger reality. They're gathering clues not just from the physical world, but from the unseen, energetic worlds all around us.
So, what are we talking about here? Well, things like soul vision, the ability to literally see energy fields or auras, or telepathy, direct mind-to-mind communication, intuition, that gut feeling that's just a form of direct knowing, no logic needed. And then there's discernment, which is this crucial skill of judging the true nature of unseen forces. These aren't just party tricks, they are essential navigation tools for your soul.
But here's the thing, and this is absolutely critical. These abilities, they're completely neutral. This quote puts it perfectly. They're like a sledgehammer. You can use a sledgehammer to build a beautiful house, or you can use it to tear one down. It all depends on the virtue and the intent of the person holding it. This idea of personal responsibility, it's everything here.
So, if your mystic senses are the tools, where's the workshop? Well, according to this way of thinking, we are constantly, and I mean constantly, building our reality and our afterlife across 3 different worlds all at the same time.
Picture it like a 3-story building, okay? We're living and working on the middle floor, the physical world. But right above us, you've got the etheric plane. This is a realm of high vibration, virtuous energy. And then below us, there's the astral plane, a low vibration world filled with illusion and selfish desires. And every single thing we do here on the middle floor, it sends ripples up and down to the other 2 floors.
And this is where it gets really, really personal. The source material calls this pre-created fate. Every thought you have, every word you say, every feeling you feel, it's not just a passing thing, it's a building block, it's a brick, and you're using these bricks to build your future home in the afterlife. Over time, you build up this structure that has such a strong magnetic pull that when your time here is done, your soul gets pulled right to the place you've built.
I just love this quote from one of the characters, Evelyn. It's a little sarcastic, sure, but it perfectly sums up the whole idea. The choice is 100% ours. Every single moment, we're making a decision. Are we building a beautiful mansion up in the etheric plane, or are we building a haunted house down in the astral? And that question leads us right into our next section, because not all these mystic realms are created equal. The source is crystal clear with its warnings about that lowest vibration world, the astral plane. It's basically presented as a counterfeit paradise, one with very, very real dangers.
On the surface, you can totally see the appeal. Another character, Evan, says what a lot of us might think at first. A dream world where you can do whatever you want, no rules, no consequences, sounds like the ultimate freedom, right? But it's a classic bait and switch.
Because here comes the switch. That fantasy of total freedom is immediately shot down with this really chilling image. It's not a playground, it's a trap. A mesmerizing maze that's super easy to walk into, but almost impossible to leave. It's a place where a soul can literally forget that any other reality even exists.
And the specific risks they lay out are pretty stark. It's described as a place full of false teachers, offering you power but lacing it with deception. If you travel there unprotected, you can attract what are called astral vampires, entities that basically feed on your soul's energy.
And the biggest danger of all? Getting trapped, hypnotized by your own selfish fantasies for what could feel like 1,000 years. So, this brings us to a conflict that doesn't happen out there, but right here, inside each and every one of us. The source material makes this powerful distinction between the fleeting happiness our bodies produce and the deep, sustainable joy that actually comes from the soul.
Just look at this comparison. On one side, you've got chemical happiness. These are just temporary spikes from our brain chemistry. Yeah, they're exciting, but they are totally unsustainable, and they always lead to a crash. Then, on the other side, you have mystic feelings. We're talking peace, true joy, harmony. These aren't chemical reactions. They're a constant flow of spirit energy. They're unlimited, they're virtuous, and that is the real goal for a student of the soul.
When we actually break down this chemical happiness, it's pretty revealing. Endorphins are there to mask pain. Dopamine gives you a burst of motivation to reach a goal. Oxytocin helps with bonding, and serotonin is linked to feeling superior or in control. You see the pattern here? They are all short-term survival tools, not path to real, lasting joy.
And this quote just nails it. Chasing these chemical highs, well, it turns us into puppets on a string, manipulated by our own brain chemistry. And all that distraction keeps us from doing the real, deeper work of developing the soul's lasting, mystic feelings.
So, after navigating all these challenges, what's the point of Soul School? What are we actually working towards? Well, that brings us to the grand finale, the climax of the soul's journey, graduation.
And the diploma, if you will, is something called the solar body. Now, this isn't something you're just given. It's something you create. Think of it like a permanent vehicle or a soul suit that you weave thread by thread from every single virtue you master. Patience, courage, love, you name it. And when you finally complete this garment, that's what allows you to graduate from the whole cycle of rebirth here on Earth.
But here's the good news. You're not entirely alone in this school. There are tutors available. They're called masters, souls who have already graduated, and they can guide and help the students still in the program. But their help isn't automatic. It has to be earned. It takes discipline, it takes earning their trust, and it takes a real effort to actually study and apply what they teach. It's more of a sponsorship, not a handout.
And that really leaves us with this one final, powerful question, doesn't it? This whole cosmic framework, from your inner senses to building your solar body, it all boils down to the choices we are making every single day. So if every thought, every word, and every feeling is a brick, what kind of world are you building for your future self starting right now?